Hey guys, Hastings here, and welcome to my very first video on F1 2015. It is also the first video where I'll be driving on my wheel. I have had a lot of practice with it in the past, I've had it a while now, but it's the first time I'll have ever used it in a video. So I'm not sure how that's going to go well. It's also the first video where I'm not actually alone doing the commentary. I've got two friends with me today. They are Tom and Alex. Unfortunately, you won't hear their voices in this video because we recorded the whole hour race and tiny bit of practice and the qualifying, and only the very last 2 minutes of the voice recordings decided to save. So you're not going to hear them, and you're not going to hear my live reactions either. I'm having to do this all again in post-commentary format. You will just hear a very small snippet at the end when we sort of round up what happened. So that's incredibly unfortunate. But what this series is a equal cars championship with Legend AI. I'm in the Lotus, as you can see on screen. Tom is in the Toro Rosso, and Alex is in the Sauber. And like any other Formula 1 championship, we're going to be trying to beat each other. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. There's a different way that we're not just going to run through the calendar as normal. We've drawn it completely randomly, and Silverstone is up first, so that's where we're going to be racing today. If I remember, I will put the full calendar on screen for you now. So yeah, we did a full hour's race, or a full hour of racing, doing all live com. It went really rather well, considering it's the first time we've done it. The first time I've ever done a video with anybody else in. It's the first time those guys have ever done any videos at all, I think. And yeah, I was looking forward to come and edit it, and there was just nothing, which is a real shame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and post-commentate pretty much the entire race, and then, like I say, you'll just hear a snippet at the end. So that's enough of me sat in the garage and talking aimlessly at you. I'm pretty sure I've told you everything that you need to know about this series. So yeah, I'm going to stop here now, and I'll catch up with you again when we go and have a look at my qualifying lap. So here we go now, starting the one-shot qualifying lap. We're going to do a one-shot qualifying for every round in this championship. Going through turn 1, we get a pretty good line. We've got a pretty good start. You can see there's a ghost in our mirror, so we must be doing pretty damn well. But going into turn 3, not the best line there, running a little bit wide, and we compromised through turn 4. Hit the apex there a little bit too much and get a little bit of oversteer on exit. That's something I've struggled with throughout this race weekend. The ghosts that were previously in our mirror are now streaking away down the straight. There's a Ferrari fighting with a Red Bull for the lead as I lock up and go very deep into that particular corner, and I get a very compromised line through this one as well. Those two corners, I think they're called Brooklands and Luffield. I really struggled with them all practice, all qualifying, all race. Really do not like that part of the track. Coming through the old first corner, cutting the corner a little bit, probably not beneficial, because you're getting a little bit bumped over on the grass there. But now we're going through Maggots and Beckett's again. I turned a little bit too early, cut part of the section, although we do get a very good exit as we close right up to the back of the ghost in front of us, opening the DRS, flooring it down the straight. Just a few corners to go now, braking nice and late, trying to push it, missing the apex, not getting the best line through Stowe, running a little bit wide, and you can see those ghosts just going past us with the proximity arrows. There they are, just in front of us. Just 2 corners to go now, getting a little bit more oversteer, getting pushed wide on the right-hander, a bit more oversteer again as I'm trying to compensate and putting my foot down too much, and across the line and finish 8th. Just 1/100th of a second behind Tom in 7th. Not a bad qualifying, but you saw a fair few mistakes there, so I can definitely do better, and that means Tom can definitely do better as well, because we tend to be very closely matched. No Zars or Alex on the top page, and he's down in 17th place, opting to go for the primes. Probably not the best strategy choice from him. It definitely didn't pay off, only managing to beat out the 2 Manners and my useless teammate. So that is it for qualifying. let's jump straight into the next part of the video, which is the race.
Hello and welcome to the British Grand Prix here at Silverstone. The grandstands are packed, the cars have made their way to the grid, and we're minutes away from lights out. Here's the grid for today's race. We'll be starting shortly.
Thank you, Crofty. It's not like we didn't know most of that already. Having a quick another look through the grid now. Tom and I will be sharing row 4 with 2 Mercedes, 2 Ferraris and a Red Bull and Williams in front of us. Having a quick look at the strategy before we start. It's a nice 2-stop race. Going on to the starting on the options, then going on to the options and finishing on the primes. What I might do, or I may as well tell you what I did do, is I actually opted to go for the primes in the middle stint and finish on the options. I always tend to try and finish on the fastest tyre. No idea if it's particularly beneficial, but it's just something that I like to do. So here we go, starting the first round of this Equal Cars Championship, revving up the engine, trying to hit the lights. I've revved it too early, that's not a very good start from me. Bogged down off the launch, there's already a Red Bull going past and there's a McLaren trying to follow. As we turn into the corner, we've actually been tagged slightly by the McLaren on our outside. I didn't turn in early enough and he turned into the back of my car. He spun out, we ended up going off the track sideways and we get hit again. Side-to-side contact with the Sauber there of Felipe and Nasser. Not the best opening few corners from me. Getting a little bit more oversteer again out of turn 4. But we finally find a bit of the racing line that we can turn onto without a car being in our way. We got a little bit of a gap back to the car in front. But we're not particularly close to the Sauber as we, again, like we did in the qualifying lap, go far too deep into Brooklands and get a really compromised line through Luffield as well. We're going to keep up the optimism though. We know we've got the pace to at least be top 8 and we're currently down in 14th, so there's at least 6 cars that we know we should be able to get back past in this race. Coming around the old first corner now. That was a much better line than I took through there in the qualifying lap. Going into Maggotts and Beckett's, this is a section, as you can visually see, I'm closing massively on the AI through here. And this was a theme of the race. I was even having to back off slightly to avoid contact with the Sauber. But as we come down the... is this back straight? I'm not sure what this straight's called. I get confused. I think this might be the Hangar Straight. Going into Stowe, I do know some of the corner names. Using the rich mix and the slipstream and getting back past the Sauber and up into 13th place. Not spectacular by any means, but we've got a lot of work to do, and that was the first of hopefully many overtakes to come. Jumping later on into lap 2 as we go around the old first corner. Once again, it would be this section that would see me close in massively on the AI as we go through Maggotts and Beckett's. You can see just how close. I have a look at going up the inside of the McLaren there, but just think better of it. And once again, I've actually not got the best exit this time because I had to slightly back out that move. But once again, we'll be jumping up into Rich Mix, see if we can do anything along the straight, using a bit of the slipstream, diving up the inside into Stowe, scaremongering the McLaren who darted out the way, trying to avoid the contact. If only they'd done that on lap 1, and then, wow, what a dive up the inside of the Force India there, throwing up the hand in frustration, not quite getting the move complete. But I can tell you that wasn't actually an intentional dive. The AI just braked really early and I've just found myself up the inside. Didn't even mean to do it. But still following on now behind this Force India. We're getting very close. Looking to the outside. He's going to squeeze us out half on the grass. And we look at going around the outside now of turn 3. Will give us the inside of turn 4. But we've had a lot of traction problems out of this corner that we've seen already. Not too bad from my front, on my front this time out. That Force India just gets a much better run. Although he doesn't carry his momentum very well, and we get DRS and we go flying past on the straight as we brake nice conservatively into Brooklands this time and manage to not mess up our line as the yellow flags come out for a completely unknown reason. Next highlight now is towards the end of lap 3, sitting right up behind the Toro Rosso of Carlos Sainz, Tom's teammate of course, and we get a really good little cut back there. Not necessarily the best run, but he's backed off out the last corner, avoiding the Williams. We're going to dart up the inside of him and up the inside of the Williams. Can we make a third one? No, we can't, and we make contact with Bottas, I think that is. I think that was 2 separate bouts of contact. We was very lucky that neither of us spun out there, and I was very lucky not to lose my front wing either. I just wasn't expecting him to back off so much. I suppose he was taking a little bit less speed because of the Red Bull in front of him, but I was expecting I was absolutely flying. I wanted to make I wanted to make up 3 positions in one there, but of course it didn't work. Later on in lap 4 now, coming down towards Stowe, closing up a little bit, not necessarily the best line, but we're holding the apex a lot better than we did in our qualifying lap especially. Running half a car off the track there maybe. Can we dive down the inside again? Yes we can, although this time we've run really rather deep. Can the Williams get a cut back? No, he can't. He sort of cut the next section slightly. Get a little bit of oversteer on the exit, around the last corner, across the line. And we have just about managed to hold off the Williams. Having a look up the inside there, as you can see in the mirror. I gave him a little bit too much space and run slightly wide myself. But fortunately the Williams didn't go for it, and we can now take this position and try and hunt down the next car up ahead, which is the Red Bull. I believe it's the Red Bull of Danny Kvyat. On to lap 6 now, and instead of chasing down Kvyat, it looks like I'm being chased down by the Williams. It was once again we make contact. This time it was side-to-side contact, and I ended up spinning off. I didn't give enough room on the inside. He didn't quite hug the inside tight enough, and there was collision. It was definitely at least partially my fault. We've lost a fair few positions now, and I'm really struggling to get the grip back in the tyres. It's getting sideways off the curb there, losing the rear end, losing another position to my teammate, and having, quite frankly, a disastrous start to this lap 6. We've got a Manor right behind us now as well, with somebody trying to go past him, and it's really, really not going well for us. We're supposed to be coming in to change tyres at the end of lap 7, but given how bad this lap's gone already, I decide that this lap's going to be the one. I'm going to come in a lap early, try and get an undercut on whoever I can, probably my teammate as he's the guy in front of me. Hopefully he's not supposed to come in first, as I'm taking that lap 6 pit stop. But yeah, we're going to jump onto the harder tyre and go for a nice long middle stint and see what happens. But before we can jump into the pits, we can close right up to the back of my teammate through the Maggots and Beckett section, and there's a Red Bull there as well. That's not the same Red Bull that we were chasing earlier. This is Danny Ricciardo, who was leading the race. Unfortunately we couldn't tell from this view, but he actually went off at Maggots and Beckett's in the race. Tom was telling me about it, but unfortunately, obviously, the video or the audio didn't record, so he's not here to tell you about it. I'm going to tell you about it. Danny Ricciardo went off, and he's now under pressure from my teammate, although I did manage to get past him. That wasn't necessarily the best idea. But here we are, changing tyres, going onto the hard tyres for a nice long middle stint. We're going to have to stretch these to lap 18, so we're going to have to do an extra lap in this middle stint, and then we'll jump on to the soft tyres at the end and see what we can do. Quick update for you on how the other guys are doing. Tom's doing quite well out front at this point, fighting with the cars ahead of him, but Alex not doing too well, as is actually going to be emphasised here. This is Alex we're coming up behind. He still hasn't stopped yet. He's on the softer tyre. He's had a few incidences, and he's already a full pit stop behind. He made a really, really bad call using the hard tyres at qualifying. Got stuck down with the back markers, got into a few incidences, and it's really cost him dearly in this first round of the championship. Hopefully, though, he'll be able to make it up, if not in this race, in future races. I'm sure we'll have some very good fights with him, both on track and tactically, throughout the rest of the series. Jumping now onto lap 10, and we start to get some rather bad lag. As you can see, Vettel puts in the fastest lap, but the car in front of me, it's Felipe Nasr actually, it's the other Sauber, is jumping around like an absolute madman. We get told that we've made a great pass, and then we get an illegal overtake on Ricciardo. I didn't even know we'd gone past Ricciardo. Apparently he's behind us, no idea where he was. We go off track to let him pass and get a warning for it. And McLaren lags through us as we ghost as we came back on the track. That was dangerous. And then there's some sort of contact. You can't tell what's going on because there's so much lag. I get a warning for the collision. It's impossible to tell where anybody is at this point. And I'm just hoping that the Honda, or McLaren Honda, is on the faster tyre than me. Because if I start catching up to him, the last thing I want to be doing is making an overtake, because it's absolutely impossible to be able to tell where he is. And you can see there he's taking out braking boards, doing a bit of rally cross, doing a bit more rally cross on the inside, doing a bit of drifting on the grass. It's absolutely impossible to tell. Weirdly though, that's not the scariest thing to happen due to lag. The scariest thing was due to the amount of yellow flags that it brought out. As you can see here, just flashing yellow flags absolutely constantly. And as we come round turn 3, one of the very few times that I actually get this section of the track correct. Round turn 4, and we've still got the McLaren just ahead of us. But then we see, oh my god, Force India! Thank God that was ghosted, because that scared the living daylights out of me. Fortunately though, there wasn't an incident. Unfortunately though, that Force India was on the softer tyre, so once he got it collected, it only took him a few laps to catch up to me. And I go defensive into Brooklands, but he just drives around the outside, the softer tyre, or it's actually the medium tyre, the option tyre, so much quicker than the hards. I try and cut back in to stop the Williams going past me, but I run slightly wide onto the gravel, and I end up losing 2 positions to the 2 cars on soft tyres. Only a few laps left now until my pit stop, but it's not looking promising. And here it is now on lap 18 to go into the pits. As you can see there, box, box, box. Funny story though, there's a car going into the pits up ahead there. That's Tom. He's also put the hard tyre on the middle stint, but he's had an accident on lap 18 with one of the AI. I can't actually remember who it was. But he's now pitting at the same lap as us. Even though he got a much better start, he's actually got to change his front wing as well. So we might be able to jump him here. We're going past him now. We haven't got to change. He's got to change a front wing. It's going to be very close either way. We come out of the pits, and Alex just about manages to get back in to watch the rest of the race. And Tom, we've actually jumped him. He's right behind us in the pits. We are ahead of him, given the abysmal start that we had and the contact with the Sauber and the McLaren and then the Williams 2 or 3 times. I think I've had contact with Williams in this race. We are up ahead of Tom. There was actually a little bit of a glitch there. He wasn't quite as close to me as it showed coming out of the pits, but there's actually a Mercedes in between us. You might be able to see in the wing mirror just a second ago. But we are now both on the soft tyre and absolutely flying. As I go past a Manor on the entrance to the Maggots and Beckett's bit, he's forcing me onto the grass. I cut the corner slightly to avoid contact. Unfortunately, he backs out of the move. But yeah, that is not exactly where you want to be taking P11, but it just goes to show how quick you can be on this softer tyre at the end of the race, which is why I love being on the fastest tyre at the end of the race, because the very next lap we're making virtually the same move on one of the Force Indias. Although he's now on the hard tyre, it's still not exactly an easy overtaking place. It's very scary when you're going 2 wide into that complex, especially when you got to do it 2 laps in a row. A few laps later now, and we've been chasing down the very next car, which is yet another pesky Williams. I've had it up to here, and you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm raising my hand quite high because I've had it up to here with Williams in this race. But we're going to dive down the inside of this turn and make it 2 moves up the inside of Williams into that corner in this race, and we gain another position on these fast tyres as we put in the fastest lap of the race. And we now go on to the very last lap of the race, and we're going to watch all of this lap because it is one hell of a tense finish. We've got 2 cars right in front of us. We've got a Jenson Button leading the pack. We've got Carlos Sainz, Tom's teammate, remember, right in front of us. I'm currently sat 9th, and Tom is starting to really feel my mirrors. You can see I quickly look back there to see how close he was. We've been fighting through traffic, he's been fighting through traffic, and he's managed to catch right up to the back of this pack going into the final lap. So what we've got to try and do is just get past these guys and put a car between me and Tom, because he's absolutely flying right now. He had a good start, he was much better than us for most of the race. One incident, he's got to change his wing and he ends up behind us. He's a man on a mission. I get a very good run out of the old first corner, try for the same move that we've seen a few times, but Sainz ain't having none of it. He put me on the grass and he's playing the team game. He's trying to back me up into Tom, but we get a great run through Maggots and Beckett's. Not the best launch off the corner, but you can see Tom there's going to the inside. We're stuck in the slipstream. DRS wide open. Tom's there as well. We go up the inside of Sainz as we go into Stowe. Force him slightly wide. And if you look in the mirrors, you can see that Tom is followed through on his teammate. His teammates lost 2 positions. Now we've got a few corners left. We've got to keep Tom behind us. And can we get anything done on the McLaren? We're not going to get anything done on the McLaren, but we've kept it clean. We've kept Tom behind us, and we've taken 8th place. I've never been so excited to take 8th, simply because I managed to beat Tom. On the podium, you can see we've got 2 Ferraris and a Mercedes. Nothing changes, even on equal cars. But there's no doubt in that all 3 of us could have done much better in this race. Tom and I didn't have terrible races. We both still got solid points. And Alex was unfortunate with a lag out. But yeah, that is the end of the first round. I hope you've enjoyed watching it, because I've enjoyed watching it back, that's for sure, and I also definitely enjoyed racing it. And I'm going to be able to hand over now to myself and the guys in the past. I was 4/10 off Button, and you was 3/10.
Oh dear.
Me.
See, on lap 19, I didn't get that many coming up.
No. Hey Alex, back. How you doing?
Sorry, I lagged out majorly in that. I have no idea what happened, so
when you see it back from my view, you'll see there's some serious lag going on as well, so it's one of those things. Let's have a sneak peek at the race director, shall we? Yeah, I had a few collisions on lap 1. Me and Button got warnings for collisions with each other.
That ending was awesome, though.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got a few. We'll just ignore these. Tom, 8, 19, 22. What was that? Towards the end of the race, exceeded them trap. Yep. But anyway, yeah, that is the end of our first video on F1 2015. The first of many as we continue through this Equal Cars series. And I've just seen that Hamilton finished 14th.
Oh dear, not a great British GP for him.
No. Zaza beat Massa. Still. Massa.
Despite lagging out.
Despite lagging out, yeah. If I go back, I can actually see the timings. So I got a couple of DNFs. Yeah, Maldonado, absolutely abysmal. It didn't even beat both the Manners. Not a great race for Sauber, as they got 16th and 19th. How did everyone's teammates do? Sainz got a point. And Maldonado was useless.
We should be winning then.
Oh no, because I got 4.
No, because you've got 4. Oh no.
Right, I'm going to be keeping track of all the points for the drivers and constructors as we go through. So I'll try and put both tables up on screen now for everybody to see. But that is it, like I said, for the first video. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Tom and Alex, for joining me. I look forward to doing more videos with you guys in the future. I hope you've enjoyed yourself as well, besides the unfortunate lag out. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, Hastings out. Goodbye.